What's up, everybody? Y'all, I know it's been so long since we've done a lunch with Lauren, and life has been lifing, okay? Your girl has a full time job, and she's also doing YouTube. So, God willing, I'm able to do YouTube full time. But in the meantime, I have a special guest today, and I'm really excited to talk to him. I put out a call when I was on the lead attorney show, and even after that, like if you're interested in being on lunch with Lauren, let me know. And his name came across, and he has a very interesting story, and his point of view is also very interesting, and I can't wait to dig in with him and discuss it all. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, and if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. And share it. Okay. This is I believe this is going to be an episode that you will want to go back and watch because he's going to drop some things, and I think we can all take note from it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Mr. Darshaun McAway.
Hey, how you doing, Lauren? How are you?
I am well. Listen, it's been a long time coming. I feel like we were supposed to connect months ago, but we're here now.
Yeah, listen, I was ready back then. I was all geared up, ready to go. I was ready to have a good time, but like you said, we're here now.
Yes, I love it. All right. So if people don't know who you are, let them know who you are. I'm gonna give it like a really 1-2 liner of who you are. So he is a best-selling author of a children's series. And I hope I don't butcher the name. It's Anaya's Adventures.
Yes,
I
that's
did
it.
it. Okay. Anaya's Adventures. If you have heard of the book, if you got the book, if you're looking for a gift for the holiday, for your loved ones, your kids, your cousins, nieces, nephews, whatever, make sure you go cop the book. Not only are you supporting him, but you will be supporting a black business. Like, come on, who
Yeah,
don't want to do that?
right.
So not only is he an author, but he's a businessman. He got a lot going on. So Darshaun, tell us what you got going on.
All right. So for the most part, something I got major that's going on. I just released my own collection of wine. Next week, I'm coming out with my own collection of watches. Currently, right now, since 2018 up until now, I've had my own cologne. And in addition to the cologne, I'm going to come out with some beauty face masks for men and women that's going to be linked up with the cologne brand. So, on top of that, we got some other, businesses, some e-commerce businesses that like the podcast. I have a podcast and I have a clothing line. So things like that. I've been doing it for quite some time.
You doing a lot. So how did you like tell me the direction, right? Which one of your ventures started first? Was it the book? Was it the clothing line, the wine?
Um, so the book started first. I turned each book that I ever came out with into a business. So like
Mhm.
how people give away like promotional pins or I don't
Yeah.
know, like a lollipop or stickers. I would give some away for free, but then I would try to sell some. So if, like for
Mhm.
example, I came out with a book called Say Hello to Me, and it was a men's self-help book, and I had created some condoms. Then I was like giving away so many condoms that went along with the book, I decided to make a
Wait,
condom company.
hold up.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's walk it back. Okay, so you had a book and you were
yeah,
like, what's gonna get the people going?
right.
Condoms. And
Right.
so you didn't just take the name brand condoms that's on the shelf. You was like, I'm gonna do my own. So how
I'm a
like
yeah.
talk to me about that
Okay,
process. That's
so
brilliant.
what happened was actually a lady told me, she said, "Hey, instead of giving these away for free, you should make your own." And cuz she was like, "I believe that you can find out how to do it." So I actually looked on the back of the lifestyle box and I reached out to the manufacturer and I say, "Hey, if I have like a special, condom design, could you make it for me?" And they were like, "Yeah, but you have to order a certain amount." So I was like, "All right, tell me the amount and let's make it happen." So I did that like within 2 weeks. And the first condom, I came out with two condom companies. The first one was called Say Hello Condoms because the whole premise behind the book was I was so confident in the information I was giving out that a guy will be able to, get with the woman that he wants. The second condom company was called Swagnums, like Magnum, it was called Swagnums. So I ended up selling both of those companies because just the STD, STI rate was going through the roof. And I started realizing, I say, well, people not using condoms, they just doing whatever they want to do. So that's how it got started.
Wow. Like the lesson in that is like ask. The worst thing they could say is no. I think
Right.
it was just a cold call that you made to the manufacturer and was like, I have
That's
an
I,
idea.
been doing it for years. That's how I came up with the wine. That's how I did the cologne. That's how I did the clothing line. I would see, who made it. You see where it comes from, but who's the manufacturer? So I would reach out to the manufacturer. Like as of right now, I'm a supplier to like Walmart stores, Target stores. Like I supply children's books to these stores. So
Yeah.
somebody will call me and say, "Hey, how do I do this?" So I started figuring it out, and I said, "Okay,
Mhm.
well, I need to turn this thing around and be the person that's supplying."
Listen, like that's so good. Like, so you tell me there's no excuses. Y'all hear it here first, people. No excuses. Ask and just do the work, and
Yeah.
you'll see the fruits of your labor. I think that is magnificent.
Listen, I wish I could come up with excuses. I had a homeboy. I was trying to complain one day, and he was like, "Dog, I don't want to hear that." And I was like, "Well, what's going on?" He was like, "Man, nobody want to hear what you're going through." He said, "Just make it happen. Just do what you got to do." So I hear people make excuses. I can't make any. I got too many people depending on me. So yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
So we're gonna get back to the self-help book that you have, but you mentioned you have people depending on you. So for the viewers that are watching and people in the chat, you're married,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have kids, obviously, because the
I
children's
just
book is
got
based
one.
on your daughter. Okay.
Yeah, I just got one. Just
Yeah.
one right now. We're working on it.
Good, good. Okay, so how long have you been married?
Mm. I've been married for 6 years, and
Okay.
our daughter is 6 years old. So I've been in that 6 year marriage so far.
So did you take so the self-help book, did that help you get the wife that you have? Or you
hmm
like how did what really kind of brought the self-help book and did like are you just taking your life experiences and putting them in the book and saying it worked for me, it could work for you too, kind of thing?
Both, both. So what happened was my wife's name is Stephanie. When I first met Stephanie, we were friends, and I was the that particular book was called Girlfriend versus Wife Duties. So I was
Mhm.
asking a lot of married women questions, a lot of single women questions, but I was friends with Stephanie, but I was kind of like courting her. So I let her read the book to let me know if I was correct about the information, but I was also trying to find out, was she the wife that I was looking for? So in actuality, I wrote a book about my girlfriend turned fiance turned into my wife. So because I knew what type of legacy I was trying to leave behind. So
Yeah.
when she read the book, she was like she was like, "This is really good. You're really going to sell a whole bunch of books because I know where you're coming from." So I didn't propose to her till maybe 2 years, 3 years after that. So I met her in 2012, wrote the book in 2012. We were friends, made her my girlfriend in 2014. We got engaged in 2015, and then
Yeah.
fast forward up until today.
So you had written a book, let her read it. Was she instrumental in like kind of like helping you market it? Like what's her role in all of this? Like is she still working or is she like your business partner?
No, she's a stay-at-home wife.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say she runs all the companies with me. She kind of makes sure that none of them go, into bankruptcy. We have like a whole bunch of people. But she makes sure no one steals from us.
Right.
We're very well connected with, how software is ran. So she's really like, raising a baby, doing the homeschool thing, and I'm just kind of like, doing my part. So she gets
Yeah.
she gets a chance to like, sit back, kick it, you know. Not more. I don't. I Partnership. It's not really a partnership. It's just she's my wife, and whatever she gets, whatever I have, she has, and then vice versa.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because there's a lot of people out here that think marriage is a partnership, right?
Mm,
And I say tomato, tomato. What works for you works for you. It's not a
right.
blueprint. But can you speak a little bit more like when you were thinking about your end goal, 5 year plan, 10 year plan, like did you want a wife or did you envision a life where I want to create the space where my wife doesn't have to work, I can have kids and they can feel supported? Or kind of did it fall into place that way? What were you like
No,
what was your vision prior to everything happening the way it did?
yeah, no. So my vision was to have a wife, but I wasn't for sure if I was because I grew up in Florida, and I was in like the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area,
Oh, you was lit.
and oh yeah,
It
so
was hot.
yeah, so you walking down the sidewalk. I'm 6'4". I'm 190 pounds. That's you're like a walk-in attraction, type of deal. So I used to talk to my homeboys and I say, man, I'm not for sure if I want to get married because they were saying marriage is an end thing. It's nothing gonna happen for you. You know, your life's gonna be over with. And I was like, I don't really believe that, you know. So I said, well, let me figure this out for myself. So I spoke to my dad. My dad was like, hey, if marriage is what you want, make sure that that's important to you because when you have a kid, that's when your life like really changes because now you have a child that's going to be dependent on you and you're going to have to like, you know, act accordingly. Or you can be a part of the broken system of looking like, you know, just being a single dad, having a single mom, and you just out here like everybody else. So I did have a plan to get married, and you know, Stephanie kind of like fell in place with that.
That makes sense. And I'm glad that you have a wife that is able to fall into place. You hear the conversations and the dialogue now, where men, not men, but like women are kind of stuck in their ways, right?
Hmm.
So is there another self-help book on the way, or anything that either speaks to men and or women?
So the book that speaks to men that holds ground to this day is called "Say Hello to Me," and the book that speaks to men and women is "Girlfriend versus Wife Duties." Honestly, what I'm given in that conversation of those books, I'm you know how you have like a maybe an older brother or a auntie or uncle that always peep you the game. I'm coming from that aspect. I come from a mentor aspect of, hey, I have brothers, I have sisters, I have nieces and nephews. If they ever were to read something about me, it needs to be positive. I'm not trying to push anybody towards marriage. I'm not trying to push anybody to just being stuck. I'm letting you have a conversation with me by saying, you know what, maybe I might want to give it a try, or you know, that's something that's not for me. You know.
Yeah, that's real and honest, and I think everybody should be like thinking thinking about that, of like
Yeah.
what's the footprint that you're leaving behind, and not necessarily leaving behind, but that you're leaving, right?
Right.
Because what you do, what you say, especially if you're doing it in a public space, it follows you.
Right.
And so if it ain't your kids that's gonna find it, it's gonna be your kids' friends, and
Right.
someone's gonna bring it up. So I want to talk a little bit about this idea of single women and married men. Okay. Um I okay, I like to think like my, I don't want to say claim to fame, but just the growth of my channel happened because I kind of started in a manosphere space, and being birthed from a manosphere space. There's a lot of assumptions made. There's a lot of projections that are given because I'm single. And I don't know if you maybe made some or had some questions or ideas, but like just there, the amount of comments that I see, if I even go live with the guy, it's automatically they're dating or they're talking or they're trying to pin a good looking person together. Yeah. So go ahead. I
Right.
see you like thinking.
So I'm glad you brought that up because when I hit you up in the email, I thought that my question was going to like make you go, "Oh, okay," and you know, reply back. That's what I saw. I saw a lot of people projecting that, "Hey, you should talk to this person," and I was curious to know if somebody's involved in a relationship and the other person is single, how do you turn that supposedly sexual attraction into a business, you know, instead of saying like I'm not attracted to that person, you know, I just want to do business, I'm just having a conversation. So for me,
This gonna be
it
good. Come on, let's
it
go.
listen, so it opened up a door for me to talk to you because I thought lunch with Lauren was a speed dating thing, and I was like, oh, I say,
Because it
dang,
started
you know.
because it started with lead. I can understand how you got that, but go ahead.
Yeah, so and I noticed that and I was like, okay, well good for them. I say, but man, she's closing the door on like just talking to people and really like open up the conversation type of deal. So I say, well, you said something and you made it very clear that, you know, you're moving somewhere and you're gonna do this and this is what Lunch with Lauren is gonna be about. So I said, well, let me see if I can reach out to her and get her perception on, you know, is it okay for a married man to talk to single, you know, to talk to single women? You know, because it happens to me all the time. And it used to be the other way around. I used to be single talking to married women, but it wasn't in a sexual way. It would kind of come off sexual, but then I would look at them and say, well, I don't know who your uncle is. You may have a rich uncle or rich granddad, and I'm trying to get to the bag, and you trying to get with me, and I'm like, I'm not even interested, you
Listen,
know.
I think, and I'm really glad that you reached out to me because that's something that needs to be talked about. Like you said, it's often one sided where one person really just genuinely wants to connect and build, and the other person is like, well, if I can do that and get with you, then let's make it happen. I think that's where it
Right.
gets sticky.
Yeah.
And like I'm new to this space, but I'm not new to interpersonal like relationships and building relationships and connections and community for that matter. But now is when I've like saw like clear as day that you can't do something without people painting their own picture or creating their own story. And so
Hmm.
what I've been trying to figure out is like thinking strategically. Like I've always thought strategically, but it's like another level of thinking when you're a woman and you're coming from a specific space that caters to men. Like you, if you look all over, it's just men dominated, like the spaces that I was in. And so the first thing people probably be like, oh, she's smashing so and so, or she's talking to so and so. How did she get here? How did like, and to your point, it's just business. It could just be just business, and that's okay. Um, so what are my thoughts about that? Do I think that women are capable of being like communicating with men or connecting with men? Sure. But I
Okay.
think there are some women who take it too far, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's the man who's attracted to the woman and the woman notices it and like, oh, so I can get whatever I want because he think I'm cute. Like, let me ask for more or let me push the limit. I do think there are people that abuse it for sure,
Yeah.
but I think that's where when that happens, the longevity of their relationship or the business connection is jeopardized.
Well, let me ask you a question. Being a married man, when a single woman comes up to me and she makes her advances, and not that you would notice, but what should I do? Right? If a woman, she drop dead gorgeous and she's telling me, I don't care about you being married, I don't, what should I do?
Cut it off. Like
Hmm.
honestly, that's what I would do. And oh, I got a story, so I'm sure that in a minute. But if you feel like, okay, this is kind of going too far, or like just cut it off because whatever you're feeling, you're probably right. They always say like women has an intuition. I do believe men do too. Women's are just a little bit stronger, but like
Yeah.
and and I dare say, I don't want to say, but sometimes if you feel it, I mean, married people can find other people attractive too. That doesn't mean that you're not married or you don't love your wife or husband or whatever, you know. But
Right.
if you feel that, then it's likely like, okay, there's something about this person that I actually like, and that could be problematic. Whether it's their personality, like the way they look, how they communicate, whatever, it must be something about them. And you also have, not you, but people that are married have to
Right.
know themselves too. If a man is very weak, okay, walk away. But if you know
Yeah.
I'm secure, ain't nothing gonna happen, I'm riding with this chick, that's my wife, ooh, ooh, it ain't no problem.
Right. Right.
Um, the issue comes when the man's not clear or transparent or real about the situation that they're in. I have been in a situation with a colleague. He was married, obviously, I was single, and we hung out all the time, but not by ourselves with other coworkers. And in my mind, it's fine because this is not date type stuff.
Right. Right.
I guess it was happening so frequently that the wife felt the way and like reached out to me. And I'm like this, and I had to like it put me in an awkward position because I knew what my intentions were, and they were not to like, you know, press on this dude. Like I'm not trying to get with your husband. But
Right.
there was some communication that was happening on that end, which I don't need to know about. Um, so that was an experience that I've been in where the lines got crossed. And although we weren't doing business together, we worked together. And I still think that's kind of like the same.
Yeah. I had a situation, and the reason I put that question out there is because before I got married, and it happens now to this day since I'm married, it kind of trips me out. But before I got married, I was working at a call center, um, and this lady, I used to see the ring on her finger, but every time she would like try to talk to me, I wouldn't see it anymore. And she finally got to me and was like, "Hey, can we go to Wendy's?" So I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So she'd been wearing her ring so long that you can still see the mark on on the finger. And she started making her advances towards me. So I say, "Are you married?" She was like, she's like, "Maybe." And I was like,
Yeah, she's
"Okay."
um,
Right. So she was like, "Wow, what's up?" And I say, I know you're trying to get with me, but I say I'm not into messing with married women. I say, now if you separate it, it's whatever, you know, but if you're married, I don't want to do that. She was like, "Well, I'm married, but don't worry about him." So from that lesson, I was like, you know what? I kind of had like a little distance from women for a while because I'm like, now that I'm married and I look at it back then, I go, if this dude was doing half the stuff that I'm doing now, and she's talking to me, at Wendy's, and all I had to do was take her to Wendy's, I was like, man, some of y'all women are a little
women,
cold.
we are ruthless. Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I mean, I've had my I'll tell you another story. This happened when I was married, and this happened during COVID. I go to Walmart. I got on a face mask, right? I'm in there, just some, t-shirt, sweatpants, whatever. And a girl comes around the corner. She's like, "Damn." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And she pulls a face mask down. And I'm like, "Nah, you can't." I was like, "You got to be joking me." I know she's not trying to holler at me. So she's like, "What's up?" I say, I usually keep my hand in my left, and I pull my hand up to my face so as I can see the ring. And she was like, "Oh, you married?" I said, "Yeah, my wife in the store." She was like, "She ain't got to know." And I was like, I can't. So I was like, thank you. I appreciate you. I say, but my wife is like 2 hours down, you
yeah,
know.
and some people out here that just don't care. So, question, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but like,
Yeah.
well, has your wife felt like you pressed the limits before, or like because like I don't want to say I have a message for those people, but like for women or men who seem to be on the other end and is like witnessing a woman or a man making advances to their
Mhm.
spouse, sometimes the spouse, like your
Mhm.
husband, wife, whatever, they don't they don't see it until after the fact and be like, dang, that's what was going on. You know what I mean? And so I
Right,
just
right.
wonder if she may have taken it personal one day and been like, yo, this is going too far. And
Mm-mm.
sometimes I want to say too, women often see things men don't, which is why women were created to kind of be the to be the help, right? And help in other ways, but also to be the other part of a man's brain, right?
Right.
We're the feelings, we're the heart, we're the the softness that men don't have, and we see things that men don't. And so maybe sometimes women will see and be like, yo, this is what's going on, and I really want to like tell you, take a step back or keep your guard up because this woman is up to no good. Like, has she ever seen women in action?
Yeah, she's seen women in action ever since 2012 up until now. She doesn't let it bother her because I've had conversations. Well, okay, so let me go back a little bit. I used to do underwear modeling for Polo,
What
Calvin
did it,
Klein,
well,
stuff like
Darshaun,
that.
what haven't you done? Have you been
I
in a commercial? I mean,
Yeah, I just did a commercial. I just did a commercial like 2 weeks ago. So I do some stuff. We'll
I
get to it.
dibble and dabble. Okay, okay.
So no, she's actually seen women make advances towards me like while she's so many feet away. But she also sees the comments. She see people sending me pictures that I don't ask for. But it doesn't bother her. She's real confident because the way I met her, there was a lot of girls like trying to talk to me, and I chose her. So she understands like where I'm coming from. And now that we're married, it's like an even stronger bond. And she knows my weaknesses. Well, she knows my strengths and weaknesses on a certain level. But when it comes to women, I look at it as I've built too much, and I don't want to disappoint my daughter. If she was to ever ask me, "Daddy, did you do this?" and I go, "Yeah," it's a different type of feel. So I learned how to keep myself. I learned how to let the flirtation amuse me, but I don't dive into the temptation of it. You
I
know.
think having confidence is like one part of it, absolutely. But there's this other side called respect, right? And
Hmm.
so, like, if it were me, like, yeah, a couple times I may see it, I'm gonna let it ride by. But after a certain time, y'all gonna get this work. Like, I'm gonna either come up to you and be like, listen, I understand he ain't gonna say nothing, but I will, kind of
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
has she ever like gotten to that point where it was like, let me check her real quick? Because like it was cute the first time. Okay, you wanted to get your little laughs off, but now
No, no, she hasn't because we watched the interview with what was Boris Kojo and his wife. I forgot her name.
Nicole,
And yeah,
Ari,
Nicole Ari. Um, I'm not saying I'm on to that level of what Boris is doing, but when they had a conversation, she understood the dynamic where Nicole realizes what her husband looks like, and as long as he knows not to take it a step too far, the blame would be on me because I have the choice to either accept the girl's number, to text her, to go follow up with her. So it's on me if I continue the conversation after the initial flirtation. You see what
mm,
I'm saying? So she
that's
don't have to worry about that.
I have to find that interview because I think it's worth a discussion and worth like replaying. But you're right. I had a conversation with someone who I'd find very attractive. And I think he's very attractive. Then everybody else probably thinks he's very attractive. And I'm like, in my mind, obviously preparing myself for those moments because
Hmm.
somebody like, oh, that's the sister, or that's they will try to put the woman in a category to where it just can't be the girlfriend, it can't be the wife, kind of thing. So yeah, that's interesting. Very
Gotcha.
interesting. All right, so we got the you said you did commercials and you did
Yeah.
some stuff. So let's talk about, like, I don't want to say let's talk about your resume, but let's talk about what got you to this, to Walmart. And then did Walmart prepare, I know I'm jumping around, but we'll get back to other stuff too. But did Walmart kind of set the stage for like your other endeavors in terms of doing print work, commercial work, or just being like a talent, so to speak?
No, so no, Walmart came in like 2015. I was always like, I have a publicist and I have an agent, and I was always doing stuff. I was on set with Mahershala Ali on True Detective 3. I've done Walmart commercials. I've done um, car dealership commercials. So I've always been doing my thing. What happened? This is how it started. Back in like 2006, 2007, I remember reading this book called The Ultimate Gift,
Mm-hmm.
and in The Ultimate Gift, it basically talks about like a rich billionaire uncle leaving stuff behind for his family, but
Mm-hmm.
the main riches he left for his nephew. So I was thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, like, what am I trying to do? Like, how do I leave a legacy? How do I do this whole generational wealth thing? And I was like, well, you can't leave anything behind if you don't have a successor, or if it isn't written down on paper, or you don't have a will. So I was like, well, I better try to get something together. So this one lady, it's always some lady telling me something, but this one lady told me, she was like, "Hey, you should go model." And I was like, "Okay, well, like, how do I do it?" So she said, just look it up online and look at the magazines. So I went to go talk to Ford models and Elite models. They turned me down, and then I got my jump start when I did a local talent agency, and that's what propelled me into like that commercial world. So I'm a commercial guy. I'm more commercial, and I'm pretty sure I can fit in anywhere with anyone. So that's
Right.
how that started. And from there, you would kind of get like some little acting gigs, and
Mm-hmm.
I was taking the money and pushing it aside for my business endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, well, I got this. Let me put it towards this book. But my books were the main thing that really like carry my lifestyle.
I love that. So since books carry your lifestyle, can we be on the lookout for a book where you actually talk about interpersonal relationships, or just relationships between married men and women, or married women and men, and how, like, the how to? It kind of sounds like you're still on this, like, kind of what do I do? Or maybe just a book about your experiences and how it's kind of played a part in your, like, the dynamics of your marriage.
Um,
Because I think when some women can take notes from your wife, considering that
mhm.
it's been happening for so long. Sounds like you guys are still going strong. Obviously, working on another baby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this happens more often than not. But I also want to kind of take a step back and kind of look at it like the society that we live in. There's a lot of, and then we did a show the other day about, like, you got to pay to play. Like, how
Okay.
is that kind of similar, and not necessarily in the way of like trying to get with this person, but it's kind of a transaction, right? And I'm not on the side of the woman that's flirting. I'm just playing the devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
People sometimes feel like they have to give off certain things to get what they want. And if that particular individual is not used to a person being genuine, they may feel that all I have is my looks or all I have is my sexuality to get what I want, when no, you just ran into a genuine person that actually wants to do business with you. So I think there's so many dynamics that play a part in maybe why someone may enter into a space and automatically think it's sexual,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, to answer that first question, I'm not putting together another book. I'm more so doing what I'm doing now, trying to get on people's panels and talk to them about the conversation and like open your eyes to when you're interacting with another person. What is it that you're really thinking about? Like why would you ask me just for off rip? Am I married? Do I have a girlfriend? All this type of stuff. Like, are you trying to have sex with me? Or are you trying to talk to me? Type of deal. So I think men and women jump the gun way too soon, and you find yourself in an awkward position because the other person, such as myself, I'll be like, what? Why is she talking about if I got a wife? Like, why can't you just talk to me about what's going on? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to look at you for business, or I was going to hire you for a commercial that I'm trying to put together.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that more often than not, from my shared experience, more women, ruin great business endeavors than men do. And the reason I say that is because most men, and this is just from me watching my homeboys, most of the guys, we don't ask you if you have a boyfriend. We just go for the conversation. Now if you tell us that you got a boyfriend, then we'd be like, oh, okay, well, I don't know if I really want to talk to you
Well,
you
as you
know
were talking, like it would make sense for a man to ask a woman if they have a husband. And now let me tell you why. If
Okay.
um depending on how involved he is with like the day to day or like whatever endeavors, right? Decision making, so to say. Like if you are a person that looks at marriage as a traditional stance, one would think that the woman doesn't necessarily make all the decisions. I went
Hmm.
out of, I traveled with a guy before, and they asked me, it was like a tour, and he couldn't go. And so I went, and they were like, well, no, he needs to be here. I was like, well, no, I'm here. They were like, well, if you have questions or you need to make a decision, he's not here. And I was like, uh, I can make decisions, like I'm okay. But depending on like the culture, the background, your cultural background, or just how you look at marriage or relationships, if it's more in that very structured, the man is kind of the decision maker, head of household, like not to say that her voice and opinion doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, things need to get ran by him. I can understand a man asking a woman, hey, are you married? Because that would depend on how far. I mean, and I'm not going to say that that's the only reason why, because it could be that he's just trying to get on. That's also another option.
Hmm.
But that would depend on like how far the conversation can go. If you be like, yeah, I'm married and my husband needs to be here because we're in this together, like that's one thing. So I just want to put that out there, that I try to assume positive intent when
Yeah.
engaging in certain things, and I don't think everybody is out here trying to smash and dash or trying to like get a
Right.
number or mess up any type of relationship. I know that's like a perfect world and doesn't always happen, but
I understand where you're coming from, but my only pushback on that would be when a guy, most men won't ask, "Hey, if are you married?" Because it's probably going to ruin their chances of possibly doing business, because that she might feel like, I don't, my husband's doing everything, I don't need your business, and two, that it is messing up his chances of getting with her anyway. So I know for a fact that every time I did it when I was single, I would never bring up a boyfriend conversation or a husband conversation. I would just keep it straight there to find out where I'm going, whether I want to do business or I wanted to do a catch and release.
mm,
So I see where you're coming from, but in that stance, I would say that the woman, the wife, if you will, she would have to acknowledge, like, hey, when you give me a call, my husband might pick up the phone, and then that guy might say, oh, okay, you got a husband, and
right,
if he pushes back, like, oh, well, no, that's okay. Now she knows, okay, well, you wasn't trying to do business with me, you was
right.
trying to get with me. So I think even for myself, I would have to acknowledge, like, hey, I'm married, and the girl would go, oh, you married? And then I was like, okay, so she was trying to get with me.
And honestly, too, it also is very telling, that response, right? If you are wanting to, like, if you're trying to engage with a woman, if that's the question that comes out their mouth, I wouldn't even continue anymore, because at that point, you're not about business. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, because the first thing, when I mean, I obviously, like I said, I came from the manosphere space. Any dude that's in my inbox or emails me, whatever, I'm not thinking, especially if they come at me on some like, let's connect, let's build, let's do blah blah blah. Like, I'm not thinking that they're trying to get at me. You know
right.
what I mean? And so if that's their first question, they're not about their business anyway. And I agree with you. Women, and I dare say some men, because there are some men that take advantage of a woman and plays her. I've experienced it
Okay.
recently, where men put on the front like, "Yep, we about to do X, Y, and Z. We gonna do blah 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 blah," and then you turn around and it turns out to be something that it was never supposed to be.
Right.
And not only is that damaging to like the woman, but again, you have to consider the backgrounds of these people. And I say that to everybody, both men and women. um the world is cruel enough, okay? And so for someone to come and basically pose as a businessman and say, I want to help build, do whatever, and it turns out to not be that, that's very damaging. And I kind of think about it like this. when I went to when I was going to church back in Michigan, I had a guy who was like, "Hey, Lauren, like, what do you do?" Told him. He's like, "Okay, I work here. Like, I want to connect." Cool, no problem. Here's the times you can talk to me during my work hours, because in my mind, this is a work call, right? We're going to talk about work. Got on the call. He asked me some questions, and then after the work conversation was over, it spilled into, "So what you doing tonight?" Blah 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 blah. And God told me that you, I said, "Oh no," like, so it's this whole, I'm putting on this mask, I'm putting on
Right.
this thing just so I can get in front of you, so I can have a moment of your time. And then it turns out to not be. At that point, I'm pissed because you've wasted my time, right?
Yeah.
This is during
Right.
work hours. And if that was your true intention, just step to me with that first, and don't try to mask it. And so that's like a message to everybody, men and women. If what you want is sex, say you want sex. If what you want is relationships, say you want relationships, and not try to kind of like put on this facade like,
Right.
building what's good. Like, no.
Right. Right. Now, I agree with you. And I'm big on time. I don't like people to waste my time because when you realize that you like literally have 24 hours in a day and
That's it.
someone comes to approach you, it is best to be as open and transparent as possible. You don't have to necessarily be so vulgar, but sometimes if you're trying to get to the point and you're trying to do like, I call it catch and release, you guys call it smash and dash. But if you're
That's just
trying to
what
catch
I
somebody,
it probably ain't even it. Probably like, girl, what is that? And I'm like,
but yeah, no, it's best to be upfront with people. So because what happens, what I've learned when you're upfront with people, they go, "Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do with you anyway." Like I was trying to get with you like that anyway. So boom, we cut to the chase. And again, I come from out of Florida, so I live the lifestyle that a lot of people can't even imagine.
so you out here just, well, not
I
anymore.
was, I was, I was.
Let me qualify that you was out here,
Yeah,
Riley.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Mm,
was, and that's where most of my writings came from. You know, um, I got a chance to be around adult, actresses and of course, exotic dancers, but not necessarily on a level of intercourse. A lot of it was me trying to figure out, what like who are women? Like what's going on? Like what type of woman am I looking for? Because you would see the scantily clad women all the time, but where are the virtuous women that the Bible refers to? So I was trying to find out like who's who,
they in the
So
house, Darshaun. They don't go nowhere.
they don't go nowhere. They
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 don't go nowhere. That's sad.
they
Like,
don't.
look, y'all still be a virtuous woman, okay? But I'm telling y'all,
Yeah, they don't go nowhere.
I
But
know.
so I come from that, So I got a chance to, experience a lot. My wife knows about my past. And also too, when it came down to that condom thing, a big reason why I made my own condoms was because I was that involved. And I was like, I cannot make a mistake and have a baby by the wrong person that I was just trying to have fun with, you
Mm,
know.
Mm.
So yeah.
So what year was that when you dropped the condoms?
I came out with so two separate years. In 2010 was the say hello to me condoms, and 2012 was the swagnums.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
But
you,
I sold them. I sold those companies.
I was
I
just gonna
sold
say
them.
you sold it in what year?
I sold them. I sold both of them in the year 2013.
Okay. Okay. I was just trying to figure out where your wife was during this time because
Oh, well, we used them. We were, we,
they worked.
yeah, they worked. They worked, and then we stopped. But no, she was actually she was pretty impressed. She was pretty impressed. That's a different conversation for a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people go, wait a minute, you came out with your own condom, and it's like you designed it. So it's like, wait, you sat there and you designed the condom. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I know what I got. You know. So you design it, but then when you get into the manufacturing side of it, you realize that it's a standard size, like three. I didn't
Yeah.
realize
Come on,
the
educate us. Educate the people, Darshaun.
listen. I didn't realize. I thought it was a myth about the shorties and the guys who are whatever well endowed. And I'm looking at the layout, and I'm telling people, I'm like, nah, I, I say that's real. They was like, yeah. I say, damn, I didn't know it was like that.
You
So
like
they was
that
like,
like
yeah,
that?
I didn't know it was like that.
So
But
yeah,
now, but
that's
so yeah, so with the condom thing, I mean, it really took off, especially in conversation when I would, talk to people, they would be like, how did you go about doing that?
mhm.
And what I would tell a lot of people is, if you just look on the back of the boxes and you see who the manufacturer is or the distributor is, you can pretty much give them a call and say, hey, I want to do a deal with you guys. Like, what's the protocol? And that's
Yeah.
how you can get things going.
Wow. Wow. Listen, that I am really impressed. Okay.
Thank you.
Going from
Thank
writing this self-help book to trying to figure out how to market it. And you said, I know just the thing,
you.
condoms. And then knowing when to let go. Can you talk a little bit about that of like what led you to selling the business? Did you feel a loss for all the entrepreneurs out here? Yeah, like did you feel like a loss? Did you feel like you failed? Or was it just like it was my time and I needed to move on to something else? Like talk to me a little bit about like the process of knowing when it's time to let go of an endeavor.
Oh, okay. I wasn't into it anymore. I wasn't into it anymore because it came from a lifestyle that I was in and also trying to promote. So when I was with, my wife, well, she was my girlfriend at the time. When I was with her, I was like, yeah, I don't need to do this. I made my point. I've showed people who I am. I say, well, I'm gonna figure out how to sell it. And every business I have now, it does have an exit plan. So I'm not
Right.
attached. Excuse me. I'm not attached to anything. I know people. This is what really made me let it go. And I didn't even have a kid at the time. What made me let it go were people were always referencing their business as their baby, and I was like, I wouldn't
Mhm.
treat my baby like no damn business. I'm never gonna let my child go. I said, but this business can go bankrupt in a couple days or a couple weeks. So I wasn't attached to starting something, but I did want to make sure that I finished it. So it just came time where I was like, all right, I don't want to do it anymore. Let me see if I can get the best buck for it.
That's honestly where that where it came from when I said like, did you feel like a letdown? Because for the people who do think about their business as their baby, there's so much emotional investment that's in
Mhm.
that, and sometimes it can be unhealthy.
Oh,
So
very unhealthy.
yeah. So I'm really glad you said that. I think everybody that's listening needs to take notes that there's going to be an expiration date on whatever you do, right?
Yeah.
Um, Even if it's you being a part of a company, an organization, a group, a platform, whatever it is, it's not meant to be forever.
Right.
And I think that's a really good point that I got from that whole conversation was it's not meant to be forever. And it doesn't mean that there's not going to be another idea or success story that comes from you. I think
Yeah.
that the more we kind of like pour or give to life itself, the more it has to give back to us. So I think that that's definitely something I'm taking away from this conversation because that just helped.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that when I talk to you, that I do give you something to take away. I think
Yeah.
that's very important in conversation. I think a lot of times, I've listened to certain panels and I'm like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't. I'm like, I'm not going to that. I'm not watching that channel no more. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you. I'm glad you learned something, and I have a lot of information.
Yeah, I definitely want to have you back, even if it's just to sit on a panel and like give your expertise from a married perspective and from like you being out here perspective because you've lived the life
Yeah.
and maybe years and years removed and it's in your past, but your experiences matter. And I think it's true when history repeats itself. Like think about Freaknik back in the day, and it's not
Hey.
it's Freaknik every day on the Shade Room, right? I mean, so
Right.
like, things are repeating itself every day, and I definitely want to have you back on the channel and on the panel if you're open to it.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and I'm not sure if like your wife is into media, but if she is, please introduce us because I'm really looking for more married women to
Mhm.
kind of give their perspectives and share insight because I'm single, Lucky is single, she and I have a show, but I do think it's more than just single women and single men that watch our show that can actually benefit from the knowledge and insight. And another part of my channel, a big part of my channel is about growth and transparency and authenticity. I don't have all the answers. I know I've made some mistakes. And just as the people in the chat and the people that comment and viewers are here to learn, whenever I have guests up here, I'm like, ooh, like, is that for me? So
Right. Right.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing just pieces of your life. I know it
Yeah.
wasn't all of it because I feel like your resume is super long.
Yeah. I got a lot going on.
So
I got a
I'll
lot
try to
going
have
on.
you back though, to kind of like chop up other topics because um, I ain't gonna be single forever, and I'm gonna want like a male's perspective, and I think yours is valuable.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate being on, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to
Yeah,
share this time with you on Earth to have a conversation with you. That's very important to me.
absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, I'm gonna put you back. Oh wait, before you leave, tell the
Okay.
people where they can find you, where they can purchase the book,
Okay.
all the good things. Darshaun McAway.
Okay, cool. So if you go to darshaunmcaway.com, you'll see every business endeavor that I have going on from my family podcast called Baby Authors. We have the babyauthors.com for the children's publishing company. We have the Say Hello Wine on there. I do adult literature for my poetry company. The Balance Cologne is on there. The clothing line is on there. So just go to darshaunmcaway.com and you'll see all things Darshaun. If you Google me, read the articles about what I did to get into business. How do you build yourself? How do you build your value up? How do you become an asset to the world? How did I get my books inside of Walmart, the largest retailer on the planet? How did this one guy just do that? So go check out darshaunmcaway.com. Listen to the podcast, listen to the interviews. I talk to New York Times bestsellers. We converse with each other, find out, how to market the book the best type of deal. So yeah, check me out. And it's Darshaun McAway on all social media and on YouTube. I have a YouTube page. It's not as popular as everybody else's. I just share stuff over there. I'm not a content creator, but just Darshaun McAway on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it.
Thank you so much, y'all. Check him out, support him. Send him some kind words, not the words y'all be sending to me because y'all are ruthless. Okay. Thanks, Darshaun. I'm gonna put you back in the green room while I wrap this up.
All right.
All
See ya. Thank you.
right. Yo, thank you so much for tuning into Lunch with Lauren. I really appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Okay, me and all my inconsistencies. I promise y'all I'm gonna get better. Okay, and I'm only gonna get better because of y'all. Keep watching my channel. Keep watching my videos. Keep sharing. Most importantly, please like this video. My goal is to make this full time, y'all. And I believe that is going to happen. But, anyways, thanks for rocking with me. And I really appreciate it. And I'll check y'all out for another Lunch with Lauren coming soon. Peace.